Very special interview. Not always do you have an Australian vice captain talk to you in the middle of a series. This man's different. David Warner forever has played on the front foot. Aggressive, confident, yes, down 0-2, but you will soon see the passion and the intensity right up there. David, thank you very much for speaking to me. Not the best match at the Eden Gardens, but 3 matches still to go in this series, so there's a lot of cricket left.
Yeah, 100%. I think last night we were very good up front. We always talk about if you can restrict the Indian cricket team on their home turf under 300, you're going a long way to achieve, the outcome of winning the game. Our bowlers have been superb in the first 2 games. There's been swing up front for both teams, which has been fantastic, and I think that's the attribute that both teams bring to the table. But yet again, last night we didn't get that key partnership in the middle. I thought Bhuvi and Bumrah bowled very, very well up front. Ball was swinging. It was quite challenging conditions. And then obviously as a batsman, you try and get yourself in and then try and build through the middle period. And we lost 2 early wickets, including myself and Hilton. We established a partnership in the middle, but yet again we didn't have that one person or 2 people to go on and win the game for us.
I have to ask you about Kuldeep Yadav. I mean, he got a hat-trick, young guy. He's come on record saying he sort of fancies himself against you. Can you talk about that? I mean, is he a sort of an unknown commodity, fancy proposition, Chinaman bowler? What does Kuldeep Yadav bring to the table?
Look, Borja, to be honest, I think you play 2 test matches, 9 one-day games, averaging 19, I think, with the ball. When you're young, you have that confidence about you, and that's fantastic. And I like that confidence with him. I know back when I first started, I had the same thing. I was talking in the media and stuff, and I think that put added pressure on myself. And if I was to go back then, I probably wouldn't do that now today. His expectation is now that he has to take wickets all the time. And credit to him, he bowled well last night, got a hat-trick, and he's doing well. That's the confidence that he brings to the table. But, for us moving forward, it's about us just playing the game. If individuals want to come out and speak in the media like that, the pressure's all on them.
Much has been spoken about leadership and captaincy and stuff like that. Under Virat Kohli, India is playing exceptionally well. I mean, you followed Virat very closely, even Hyderabad, Bangalore, when your rival captains. What do you think Virat is bringing to the table which past Indian teams did not have?
Look, I won't disrespect any of the past captains or past players of India. I think the captaincy that Dhoni brought to the table is a sense of calmness, and that's the type of person he is, and he's done an amazing job. He did an amazing job for India, and he still is today on the field. And I think he's helping Virat quite a bit in the one-day stuff, and I think that's a great thing to do as a previous captain, to help nurture the new captain and help direct on the field. I think that takes strength as well from Virat to actually take that on. I know as a new captain, you probably want that sort of sense to do your own thing. But it seems to me that he's nurturing him in a good way, and I think that's credit to both of them. Him as a leader, what I see a lot of fight, determination, and passion, and that's something that you always ask for from a player's point of view with a captain leading, and I think he's doing a good job of that. They haven't really had too much non-success, so they've been on this ride. The real test comes when you start losing some games, and obviously from his point of view, probably won't want that to happen. But we're here to another 3 games to go in this one-day series, and hopefully we can turn that around. And then you might see a different captain. We don't know. That's the unsurety.
David, your own performance. I mean, 200s in Bangladesh. People are always talking one of the best batsmen in the world. Does that put pressure on you? I mean, the fact that you don't get runs in 2 games, do you put pressure anymore, or you're sort of, I've been in international cricket long enough?
You know myself, you don't put any added pressure on yourself. We always talk about players who have played the game for a long period of time. You don't lose form overnight. You have some purple patches, you have some downs, but it all comes down to backing your game and backing your skill. At the moment, I'm facing 2 quality bowlers up front. It's about myself adjusting to that. The conditions have been in their favour, but as a player, you've got to have the intent and put the pressure back on the bowlers. From my side, have I been doing that? Maybe not. Maybe have lacked a little bit of intent. So, from where I sit today, I've got to keep working out how I'm best to tackle the bowlers up front, and then obviously through the middle period play the game as I know.
India-Australia rivalry. I mean, every match that sort of is played adds to this rivalry. I know you love this country. Can you talk about India-Australia as a rivalry and how it has become one of the signature rivalries in world cricket?
Yeah, it's quite funny you say that, because every time I come to this country and you watch the commercials, it's always like bully the bully or hashtag sledging or sledgehammer, and I personally don't think that's what it should be portrayed as. We're two very competitive countries. I think it all started from in Australia, and it sort of lived on from there in that expectation. But I think it comes down to we're both so competitive and we want to beat each other, and I think that's what it comes down to. And that aggression and passion is on the field, and it always will be. And I think that's what's great for the game. People like seeing that rivalry. It's like what we have with England and the Ashes. You need that build-up, you need that suspense, and we absolutely thrive on playing each other.
What happened with that Hardik Pandya dismissal? I mean, I saw you laughing with the umpires in front of the clubhouse. We were watching on telly, so obviously didn't know what. But what were you saying? I mean, you were showing the umpires when you all were coming back, and you and sort of Steve Smith was there. You all were laughing and smiling. What exactly happened?
Well, we were under the impression that the umpire didn't give him out originally. So we're saying, well, why can't he be run out? So we were thinking, well, then if you're a batsman, you might as well keep running. And then we asked the question was, would you give him 2 runs if, he wasn't given out? And the umpire said, no, it's deemed as if he caught it and then you can't run him out. So I think at the end of the day,
it was a funny incident.
It's a funny incident, and you just, as a player, you just want clarity over, is the umpire going to call it a no ball or is he going to give it out? Because, in those situations, maybe a World Cup final or something,
can change it.
If you hit the ball in the air and the umpire calls it a no ball and you keep running, you can be run out.
Yeah.
So that's where we're just coming from that point of view, going, well, we might as well just keep running. So it was quite funny and humorous, because Hardik, he said, oh, I'm out, so I just walked off. So he didn't even think about it either. So I think both teams were just like, oh, okay, well, the umpire said it's not out, so not out.
Davey, going forward, I mean, I'm asking this question to David Warner, the leader. I mean, vice captain of this team, but Sunrisers Hyderabad, serious leadership pedigree, and I have to refer to this. When Stephen Smith went back from Sri Lanka losing a game, David Warner won 5 straight games on record. And Michael Clarke is already on record saying Smith is under challenge, etc., etc. I'm not going into that, no controversy. But I'm saying when you're down 0-2 as a senior player, how do you lift players like a Hilton Cartwright or a Stoinis or youngsters? What do you talk in the dressing room to lift the morale?
Yeah, look, from my own personal experience, you need to find yourself of how you get out of these situations. Some of these players probably haven't come to these scenarios before where they haven't been in the form that they would like, and to try and overcome that to get yourself into form. I think you just got to go back to what you know, and that's hitting the ball. Try not to go searching. I know when you're out of form, you go searching for a lot of balls that you wouldn't hit, the lengths that they're bowling, you go and try and drive at those lengths and you nick off. You got to be patient. You got to allow the ball to be in the right spot, and it has to be in that right spot when you're not seeing the ball or hitting the ball well. And that starts at training, and that's the basics. And as one of the leaders in the team, I take the responsibility to try and help these guys to make sure they're mentally okay, because you can start thinking negative thoughts. And being away from home, the boys have been in Bangladesh and they've come here. There's a long time periods where you're away, and it happens all the time. And when you play all 3 forms and you're away from home and you're not doing well, I've been there. It is very, very hard and very tough mentally to get out of that. And you don't rely upon this, but it speaks volume if a senior player or a coaching staff member comes up to the player and just simply asks, how are you going? And it's upon that individual to have an honest response. And if you give the honest responses, I'm fine, and you're not asking for help. Everyone likes to be that person who's brave and puts on that brave face. But at the end of the day, sometimes you need a little bit of help and guidance, because it's very, very tough and challenging.
Excellent answer. I mean, One question I have to ask you. 2 years down the line in one of our interviews, you said, watch out for Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. I think he was bowling in the Emirates during the IPL, and you said he's bowling one of his best, one of the best. This time during IPL, you once again said, watch out for Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. You've mentored him. I mean, I've asked Bhuvi this as well. You've mentored him as captain. Now, like playing him, yesterday we saw how well he was bowling. Can you talk about Bhuvi's evolution as a bowler?
Yeah, I reckon he's gained a couple of yards. I reckon he's bowling a bit faster. I think he's had time to sort of build up his strength from what I see. And his rhythm looks good. And we always talk about confidence. You know, he's had the confidence in the IPL. He's been given that opportunity again playing with India in the test match formats. He's bowled fantastic. And his key is up front swing and his death bowling. And I think he's used that to his advantage very well. And I know as a batsman, when you're trying to take on these guys when they're going well, it's always going to be challenging. And that's where I say it's imperative that you actually got to wait for that real bad ball. You might not get it, so you might have to see his spell out. But when you do get that bad ball, you've got to pounce on it. But at the moment, he's riding high on confidence. And I like seeing that in any player. And I think it speaks volume of the person he is, from being out of the team, making his way back through, you know, the IPL, and now he's back playing for India. His confidence is high. And I think the one thing that's impressed me is his batting. He's coming out and, you know, playing his shots and looks like he's tinkered with his technique, and that's probably one of the senior players giving him that confidence. And I think that adds an extra string to his bow and the confidence for Virat to have in him.
Davy, just going from there, I mean, you said senior players giving him confidence. We are seeing a reinvented MS Dhoni. I mean, I know you have forever been respectful of these legends of the game. Having been there, done that, seen him close, can you tell us, MS Dhoni, do you actually see him going 2 more years, 2019? Because the whole world wants to know. I mean, obviously, it's not for you to say whether he should or not, but as a player, as someone who has played with him for the last 10 years, how are you seeing MS Dhoni?
I think we've all run out of superlatives, I reckon. I think the player himself is just quality. You know what he brings to the team. And I can't speak for him, but what I see is that him giving the captaincy to Virat has made him, I think, it looks like he's enjoying the cricket. You know, you don't have the... No, I won't say pressure or anything like that, because, you know, he's very calm and how he goes about it. But I think he's just loving being part of the group, and a young group and an energetic group. And I know that was the same as Ricky when I first came into the test setup. You could just see these guys. It's like a new life has been born for them, and it's great. I like seeing it. And he's a world-class player. You know, if the player feels that he's not going as well as he would like, I'm sure that they would have it upon themselves to maybe stand down. But you know, I think at the moment he's hitting the ball well. He looks like he's tinkered with his technique as well a little bit. And yeah, I think I personally think he can go another 2 years.
Final 2 questions before I let you go. One, you know, we have never won a series in Australia in our history, 70 years. South Africa, England and Australia. The whole country is now saying this is a team with the fast bowlers, Shami, Umesh, Bhuvi, Bumrah, Ishant, etc. We now have a team to do well in Australia. It'll be a massive series 1 year down the line in Australia. You lost 1-2, very close series this year. India will go down under. How big will that be? I know you've got the Ashes, but India v Australia 6 months before the World Cup, how big will that be?
It's going to be exciting and huge. I know as a batsman, when a team has pace bowling, you always, you know, sort of lick your lips a little bit, because you've got to move your feet, you've got to be fast on your feet, and you've got to be ready. And that's something where, as a batsman, you've got to be sharp. You know, with pace, you know, people who bring fast bowling to our country, we face it every day in the nets. Every day, 3 times a week, I face the pace. So it gets you ready and in the tempo. But it's about starting well in every series. Same as when we come here, you've got to start well. If you can win that first test, that sets the momentum for the rest of the occasion. And, you know, we saw that as well against South Africa in Perth. They took the momentum away from us when we were on top. They're the little things that, you know, challenge you as players, how to bounce back and, you know, overcome that. With history, as it says, You know, India coming to Australia and haven't won for as long as you said, and the same thing comes for us when we come to India. You just got to prepare as well as you can to have that mindset mentally and to forget about the history and just play the game. You can have the world's best team going there, not necessarily means you're going to win. You've got to start well, and that's what we always talk about as a group, home and away.
Final question, 0-2. It will be humongous, you know, if you can turn this around. How do you approach 2 days down the line, Indore? You know, and the turnaround has to start there, otherwise the series is over. It's almost a do-or-die match.
Yeah, definitely. You just got to put the last 2 games to bed, forget about that and move on. And as I always talk about, we try to keep this game simple. We overcomplicate a simple game. You got to just keep backing yourself, you know, batters, bowlers, and in the field, and do what you know best and play with some freedom. You don't want to. When you're 2-0 down, sometimes you can be a bit hesitant, but you have to have that intent. You've got to have the faith in your ability and as a team unit to win from any situation. Yes, we're bowled India out, as I said, less than 300, which is very rare in their backyard. Now we're going to have to bowl extra better, and we're going to have to bat even better. So, you know, time will tell, but hopefully we can turn around and make it 3-2.
Overcomplicate a simple game rather, says David Warner, and love talking to him all the time. I mean, clear clarity of thought that explains the success in all 3 formats in international cricket. Not many in recent times have that. I mean, I can't wish him a series win as an Indian during the pujas. That will take away from my pujas, but I can for sure wish him all the very, very best in the next 3 matches. Hope he scores runs, hope it's competitive, hope we enjoy the rivalry. That's what I will say. I will not say Australia wins, but I will say let cricket win. Thank you, David, for speaking to me. Thanks a lot.